feels the need to move up front, don't be shy. Now, one of the questions that many people ask when learning about divestment is whether or not it actually works. Fortunately, it does, and for some serious success stories, we're going to follow Matt Patsky from Trillium Asset Management. Matt has a BS in economics from Rensselaer Tech, and he's got 3 decades of experience in investment research and investment management. He's worked at Lehman Brothers, where he became the first sell-side analyst in the U.S. to publish on the topic of socially responsible investing. He worked at Winslow Management Company in Boston, where he served as portfolio manager for the Green Solutions Strategy and the Winslow Green Solutions Fund. Matt is a member of the Social Venture Network and served on the board of Environment League of Massachusetts, Shared Interest, and Dream Repair. Matt.
Thank you. I noticed a little chuckle in the room publishing on socially responsible investing at Lehman. It was not at Lehman Brothers where I published. I actually started writing about environmental social factors and how they impacted the value of company franchises at Lehman. And it was suggested to me that that was not a good idea for my career. I left Lehman and published on socially responsible investing at a different investment bank. So just clarify that, because I did notice that, and I thought, well, that wasn't where I published it, but I did indeed start incorporating environmental social impact while a sell-side analyst at Lehman. But thank you very much. I'm going to just sort of deviate from my remarks to comment that as about the role, the leadership role Vermont took on LGBT equality. And just say, indeed, we saw what has been monumental in terms of the movement for LGBT equality across the U.S. And the Supreme Court is obviously hearing today what hopefully will be a final case. Hopefully resolve this once and for all. But it is different than this battle because there's a lot more money coming against us. There was certainly money that was thrown against LGBT equality, but nowhere near the money that's being thrown against this. And while I don't know if anyone in the room wants to raise their hand as being a representative for the American Petroleum Institute, I will assure you someone's here. If there's everywhere I've ever spoken, there's been someone from the American Petroleum Institute. That's a lot of money to send people to town meetings, to send people to every state house meeting. You know, yeah, but they're there, and they show up, and they ask questions, and I'll relay this one just because I thought it was interesting. At the State House in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the question was, what about all the jobs that will be lost? And the state rep retorted really quick, how many of them will be in Massachusetts? That person just sat down, because of course, New England is not a place where there's an awful lot of jobs being created from the traditional energy sector. When we look at this space from Trillium's perspective, first, I would be negligent not to thank Eric Becker for the incredible role he played at Trillium in introducing fossil fuel-free portfolio strategies at Trillium over the years he was at Trillium. I have been doing similar work at Winslow Management and joined Trillium 5.5 years ago. Was thrilled to find a strategy called Sustainable Opportunities that was developed by Eric, which was focused on trying to look for positive environmental and social characteristics in companies and building a portfolio of positive characteristic companies. The approach, when you look at the history for Trillium, was not about excluding the traditional energy sector. It was about including positive companies that had positive environmental impact. And therefore, didn't have any traditional coal, oil, or natural gas companies in the portfolio. So we have a history at the firm now right around 20 years of managing portfolios that are fossil fuel free. The portfolio that dates back the longest has outperformed by 35 basis points per year on average. When I hear the response that we get so often of, we can't afford to do this, it's too risky, there'll be too much volatility. I look at that portfolio and think, boy, they're certainly not anxious to see the statistics, and they're not letting any of it get in the way of those strongly held convictions that they can't do it. But there is no evidence you can't do it. And the evidence is overwhelmingly you can do it. I will caution us all in this room not to get too excited about 1.2%. For just in the introduction, heard this statistic that since the call for divestment over the last 3 years, fossil fuel-free portfolios have outperformed by 1.2% per year. True, but we have to remember this was a very bad period for traditional energy, and so we don't want to be out sort of promising excessive outperformance. So we do want to be aware that there's going to be cycles, as Eric referenced, and so we certainly, well, we can all agree that coal is in long-term decline, and we have no reason to be invested in coal. There could be a cycle in which oil rebounds, and if it rebounds, fossil fuel-free portfolios may have a period of underperformance, and that's we caution all clients that is just sort of ultimately could be a near-term impact that they'll have to weather if there's a rebound in oil prices. Certainly, we believe that oil likewise will enter a period of long-term decline. We think that will be true for natural gas, but certainly it is, I think, undeniable for even those who love fossil fuels to deny that coal is not in long-term decline. There is no justification for being invested in coal, and yet those who index are invested in coal. It's the dirtiest of all the fossil fuels, and you're not making money being invested in an industry that's in such long-term decline. So it is certainly, when we see Stanford announce that they're committing to 5 years to divest from coal, it's not that bold a commitment, but it's certainly, I applaud, it's a step in the right direction, but I know that was their response to 350.org. As I mentioned on the portfolios, we focused on trying to look at positive characteristics to invest in, so we've been very heavy investors in energy efficiency, power generation that's focused on solar, wind, geothermal, other technologies that are more efficiently creating electricity with a reduced carbon footprint, storage and distribution, which is very, very important for how we expand power generation for renewables, transportation, and more energy efficient transportation methods, so rail and mass transit in particular, sustainable agriculture, water, and sustainable design. So we're looking at different sectors where there's opportunity for faster growth to make sure that we're focusing, putting more money to work. So when we look at not being exposed to what is 13% of the S&P 500, that's where the money is put back to work. So again, trying to focus on investing in positive environmental and social impacts. So I would also like to say an incredible thank you to Bill McKibben from 350.org, who's keeping Eric and my phone ringing nonstop. The call for divestment, while it was, I think, made it just sort of a simpler request, because it was a very discreet request of sell these 200 names that are in the traditional energy space. It has left everybody questioning how they're invested. It has left everybody questioning why they can't invest with alignment of their values. And it is causing a lot of people to come to sort of question how they're invested. And for that, we're incredible thing.
2%.
2%. So with that, I'll just say thank you and turn it over to Bill. Thanks.